Hey guys, this is Mr. Smith here. Hopefully everyone is doing well and staying safe. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, and it's day 14 of our remote learning. Our topic for today is distributive property. Our learning target is I can use a distributive property to write equivalent expressions with variables. So in your warm-up, you had this diagram and these expressions, and it said to choose the expressions that represent the area of the large outer rectangle. So if we look at this, when we think about area, we think about length times width. So if we're looking for the large outer rectangle, so we're looking at this whole rectangle here, we have our length of the whole thing times the width. Now, in this first expression, we have 6 times 3 plus 6 times 2. So if we multiply 6 times 3, that'll give us the area of this rectangle. And then 6 times 2, that'll give us the area of this rectangle. And if we add those together, it'll give us the area of the whole large rectangle. If we look at 6 times 5, so this whole length is 5, because if you take 3 plus 2, you get 5. So 6 times 5 is 30, and it'll give you the area of this whole outer rectangle. Now, the last one that you see marked with the little orange dot is 6 in parentheses 3 plus 2. What that means is we're going to add that 3 plus 2 first. So 3 plus 2 is 5, and then multiply it times 6. So essentially, it's the same as this one. We're just separating that 5 into 3 and 2. Your second one, you needed to find all of the expressions that help you find the area of this shaded rectangle. Now, looking at this, if this from here to here is 7 and this is 2, the length of the shaded part is 5 because we do 7 minus 2 equals 5. So to find the area of this shaded region, we could do 4 times 5, which we have marked here. We could also do 4 times 7, which is the area of this whole large rectangle, and then subtract 4 times 2, which is the area of the unshaded part. So if you take the entire rectangle, find the area of that, and then subtract the area of the unshaded part, it will give you the area of the shaded part. We could also do, much like in our previous example, 4 times 7 minus 2. So that means we're going to do 7 minus 2 first to give us 5, because we're following our order of operations, and then multiplying it by 4. So essentially, just like in our previous example, this is the same as this one because we're doing 7 minus 2 first and then multiplying it by 4. So 7 minus 2 is 5, 4 times 5, and we have the same thing here. Now, looking at our distributive property, here's an example. If we had 5 times 102, and we weren't quite sure how to figure out 5 times 102, we could break that 102 up into 100 plus 2. And the distributive property means that we're going to distribute or give that 5 to everything on the inside, just like some examples that I talked about in class where I was talking about if I'm bringing in cookies and I want to distribute them to the entire class, I'm going to give them to everyone in the class. So looking at this problem, we have, if we distribute this 5 to 100, we have 5 times 100. We keep our addition sign, and then 5 times 2. So we have 5 times 2 here. So this is written out. And then we do 5 times 100 is 500, plus 5 times 2 gives us 10. 500 plus 10 is 510. Now we can expand this to using with variables. To go back to our rectangle area, and you will see some problems like this later on as you're working through the activities. We have our width of 5, and our length of this rectangle is x, and then of this rectangle is 8. So if we're trying to find the area of this entire large rectangle, we want to do 5 times whatever x plus 8 is. Now we don't know what x is, so we're just going to leave that as our variable. So 5 times x plus 8. Again, we're going to distribute that 5 to each of these pieces inside the parentheses. So 5 times x gives us 5x. 5 times 8 gives us 40, so 5x plus 40 is our answer. We cannot solve for what x is because we don't know what x is. So we're just kind of working through trying to figure out, we're just rewriting this expression to create an equivalent expression, which ties back to our learning targets, writing equivalent expressions using the distributive property. Now, as you move through the activities, I know it looks like there's a lot of activities here, but some of them are only one question activities, so you'll be able to go through them fairly quickly. So you have a Desmos activity, then you have a discussion from that Desmos activity, similar to what you've done in the past. Now with your discussion board post, please make sure that you are using specific explanations, using details. I cannot see, and Mrs. Tyler cannot see, what you are writing down on a scratch sheet of paper at home. We can only see what you have typed out in that comment part. So please make sure you are being specific and talking about exactly what you're doing and when you're doing these discussion boards. Don't just say yes or no or give us a number. We need to find out exactly what you're doing. Then you're going to have a matching to practice the distributive property. So you're going to match an expression that has the number on the outside of the parentheses with some stuff with letters and numbers on the inside, and you're going to find an equivalent expression for that. It should look fairly familiar because I know we've done those in class. You're also going to write equivalent expressions using the distributive property. So you're going to be coming up with equivalent expressions using that. You'll have a cool down, and you'll have some practice problems to do. Make sure when you open up those practice problems that it automatically tells you to make a copy. You can type right on that, but make sure you explain what you've done to find that answer, because we can't tell you what you did right or wrong if we don't understand how you figured your answer. And then for honors, you have another activity on there as well to complete. Don't forget, if you need to contact us, our office hours, mine are Monday through Friday from 2 to 3:30. Mrs. Tyler is Monday through Friday from 9 to 10:30. You can access our Zoom link through the Schoology folder under 6th grade staff office hours. You can use this time to ask for help on the assignments or how to navigate through Schoology to access or submit assignments. You can also use this time if you just want to come by and talk. We definitely miss you guys. We wish we were back in school, so feel free to come and just say, hey, what's going on? You can also email us and send a message through Schoology to Mrs. Tyler and Mr. Smith. Again, make sure you are using this. If you have any questions, also go back, give us about a day, go back and look at what you've posted, what you've submitted through each day, because Mrs. Tyler and I are both making comments on those. So we need to make sure you go back. If we may have a question for you, how did you do this? What evidence do you have? Or, give you a hint as to how to do it, how to answer it if you did not get it correct. So make sure you're going back and checking those comments just to make sure that you've got it all, you're good to go, and for once we start doing some more newer material, which will be coming up starting next week. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I know I'm going to be going out to some food truck stops. Mrs. Tyler has been doing that as well, so we would love to see you guys come out and see us there too. So, again, have a wonderful day and hope to see you soon.